We'll get started in just a moment, but as usual, I will need to center myself, which is going to be advisable for all of us. So we're going to take some breaths before we begin. I'm sure there'll be a few other people coming in, but that will be fine. There's a lot of information coming, so we will have plenty of time.
Hey, Roger, just to let you know, your music is overpowering your voice.
My music, I don't have any. Do I? Oh crap, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that was on. So sorry. That was what was playing. Okay. That was my meditation music beforehand. Okay, great. We're good now. All right. So let me close these. 1 second, you guys. All right. And back. Perfect. Okay. Big breath. Let it go slowly. Another breath. Again. Feel the energy move all the way down your body into your feet so you feel more grounded. Another breath. Let it go slowly. You need to be present. Allow yourself to relax more. Good. We're ready to begin. And we believe more of you will hear us now, and more of you will understand why we say we have waited for you your entire lives. And we planned this today because we so need you to understand how valuable you have become now. And you just didn't know that, but now you're going to understand it on a very deep level. We gave you this information in 2012. We keep using that because, again, most of you do not believe in the eternal nature of your being, meaning that you've been here for a long time, you've always existed, and you figure out things at different parts of your evolutionary journey, and you're each doing that now. But today what we're doing is we're speaking to you. We're speaking to you, the individual, because we know who you are. We had Roger watch the registration list, and we can also see who's going to hear this later, because we know who you are. And so this is what you need to understand. You never did anything wrong. We hope you heard that. You never did anything wrong, and you're not doing it now. What you are doing is discovering more of your worth. And you've done that throughout your entire life. And your experiences have helped you to accomplish that. The only difficulty was you judged them as being wrong, or you were off track or something like that. No, you were on track to arrive now. We've told you, you are here at the most important time in your history for sure, and one of the most important times in your world's history. You must understand that. The reason that the world looks the way that it does now, why you're experiencing this, is because you wanted to be here so that you could finally come to understand all the work that you've put in and how it's caused you to become valuable now so you could make a contribution. And that's what you're doing. And we'll tell you how you're going to figure this out as you move forward, because you only have two choices. You can only choose between love or fear. That's all. And as you make your choice, you're going to see a world change. You're going to see your life change, and you're going to see the world change. See, that's what we said. We know who we're speaking to. We know who you are. You came into the world with the intention of causing yourself to become more, of evolving, of or reaching this place in your life where you felt, wow, I am magnificent. Except you have these experiences and you have these events and circumstances that as you were living them in your human awareness, you could not understand that they were all planned, that they were all meant to cause you to evolve so that you could help your world do the same thing. It's never any different for any of you. We've told you over and over again that there's no hierarchy in souls. You've heard us say that. We were saying that because we needed you to understand that the change that is occurring in your world was designed for you. Because see, when you start to love yourself, can you imagine the energy that puts into the world? When you start to understand that you didn't do anything wrong, you were just trying to figure it out to get here now so that you could be the contribution you intended to be, so you could cause your world to become different. We've said again, over and over, that the world that you want to see is not guaranteed. And the reason we keep doing that is because we know who you are, and we know that if you put your energy into the world, then we will have, we're speaking collectively of we, because we know the ones who are listening, we will have the world we wanted to see that we've always dreamed up. But you have trouble with that because you don't remember your history. You don't remember it, and you weren't supposed to. You weren't supposed to because you were supposed to create new history for your world. We're going to go back because we need to explain why we've been giving you, and we say we do this all the time in increments, and we give you little bits and pieces because you have this disbelief that you are that important, that you've been around for a long time, and that you've had things within you that you could possibly use to cause yourself to be better or the world to evolve. And we've told you all of it, and we told you in 2012, we gave it all to you in your life operating instructions. We started out with infinite intelligence. We said you each have access to infinite intelligence. And then we gave you a diagram of how we put that into our program using Roger to show you how his particular DNA led him to develop this exactly as yours will do the same thing. You have different strains. We've used the DNA analogy quite a bit because we wanted you to understand that you are so much more than you've ever imagined. And if you can't, we know that the idea of past lives or other lives or any of that is really challenging for you. However, which is why we broke it down and we tried to use something that your everyday minds could accept, which is your DNA. You know that you've developed that technology as humans where you could look at your bloodlines and you can see where you are connected. It could tell you a lot about some of the feelings that you might have within you that you don't completely understand, but that blood energy is always there. We're saying that because it's energy. When you understand that it's energy, it makes more sense to you. You have these bloodlines that have existed back centuries to all those who've come before, but you think that only those who have historical places are important, and you aren't. You are connected to them. You have access to all that information, except you just move through your lives and you don't understand what's happening. Now, you weren't supposed to, as we said. Roger's life experiences, he knows, and we've talked about often, is that he knew that the first part, he was going to go through all kinds of stuff. He was going to, because he had a path that he hadn't finished some stuff. He knew that. We kept bringing it up, but we're going to explain it more. We had him watch again because we take him through this so he can be clear to help you become clear, you see. So we had him watch last night the 2 Akashic records, the readings that he had from 2 different people. And he still had trouble accepting that he was given this. It was said in one of the readings, they said you were given an operating system. How could that have come out accidentally? None of you are accidental. None of your events or circumstances, none of it, none of the stuff has been accidental. It was to bring you here now. You don't understand this, but your higher self had an agreement. They said, listen, if you come to the earth now, you'll be alive when your world is going through a restructuring. And this will help you so much because You know how you've been thinking you were a little person and you didn't have any importance? You know how you thought that you just kept trying and trying and trying and nothing was ever going to happen and it was never going to work out? You know how you felt that? Or you know how you felt maybe you were an imposter and you were just rehashing things that were given before and it's not really you. You couldn't have possibly made anything new. See, we have all of them. We know what you've said. This is why we gave you that message in 2012, you see? And then we also told you that it was all about you. This life is all about you. It has nothing to do with what is you're seeing in your world. We want you to really get this. You will have internal reactions from what you observe in your world, but you set yourself in that place so that you could see it all, so that you could choose who you want it to be. As you choose who you want to be, your life starts to unfold in a completely new way. And we know again that when you make that choice between love or fear, you're going to cause your world to change. And your life will be that different as well. That's what will happen. You had an agreement to come into the world, to be here now, to help move things forward. We're going to talk about some other things. The reason that in our program that we have you moving through your grief, understanding who you are, asking those questions, because you don't do that all the time. You don't ask that question because you're afraid that there's no answer there. You're afraid that maybe you were the one person who was born without some significance. And that is never true. You each have wonderful significance that needed to be in the world now so that you could facilitate the change, the shift, the restructuring of your world. But that can only happen if you begin to understand how valuable you are, you see? And the only way you do that is by reframing, reinterpreting everything that you thought. Understanding that your past was perfect. That's what we said this morning in our message to you. Your past was perfect. We wanted you to get that in your head so you will understand that everything that you experienced, even though you thought, well, I'm not there and I've really not accomplished what I want, you weren't supposed to until now. That's just the way it is. It's difficult for many of you to believe that, just as it was for Roger. And that's why we kept leading him back to all of this information, to make the connection between all of those who have come before, that he is energetically connected to. It's energy again. He's not those people. He's not, but the energies are there. That's what we need you to understand. You react to things within your body. You were given tools to know your guidance and you feel it. And so when we say you're going to choose between love or fear, we'll tell you the reason, the way that you're going to know this. Okay. When you're experiencing fear, you've forgotten to love yourself. That's all. You've just forgotten who you are. But that's a reminder. Then you move through that and then you say, oh, wow, I could get through that. I did that. That's what you're going to do as you move through this. Okay. Now you're going to understand why we said we're speaking to you. Because you collectively put your energy into the world that causes the world to manifest in a particular way. Every human does this. This is what goes on. Okay, so there becomes a collection, so to speak, of the kinds of energy that you each are putting into the world. It accumulates, it becomes more. So imagine if you were just putting your love into the world just all the time, meaning loving yourself. You've got to start there. It's nowhere else. It starts within you, because again, we told you this is all about you. So when you put your love into yourself, I'm going to stop judging myself. I'm going to understand that I didn't make any mistakes. I'll figure it out later what I did and why I did it, and the wisdom that I gained from that. That's what's going to go on. And then you will add your energy to the collective, and then that collective unconscious will be shifted. It's happened all the time. That's why your world looks the way that it does now. And we keep talking about this because sometimes it's a little upsetting for us, we should say, that we don't understand how you could look at the world and not understand the logic of how it was created. Meaning that people came in like you and said, oh, wait a minute, there's more to be done here. Maybe I can add to what has come before. You did not come in creating new worlds by yourself. You just didn't do that. You relied on all the energy and information and wisdom that came to all of those that came before. Because you're going to make it better. That's why you're here. The world looks better, and we're using very subjective human terms because that's what you can relate to, but the world looks better today because of you deciding at some point that you were going to honor why you were here and take the information that's coming to you, because it always is. You have intuition, you can feel this. And when you start to accept it, then you're going to accomplish your goal in this life. We're saying that because you came in to accomplish something very specific. And the way that you do that is when you start to own yourself, when you become more confident, when you become more courageous. And we're saying that because more of you will need to honor that part of you now. More of you will need to honor that part of you because you're going to need to hold on to who you are, because the world is, we said, is splitting. There are changes coming, and they're big. And that's why we told you we wanted to do the January talks to give you a little more understanding of that. But it's going to be so great when you get to recognize your importance in causing this shift to happen, because it's happening in your life. So you felt a little insignificant. You've judged yourself. You felt you weren't important. Every human does that. That's perfect. Because see, then when you have that feeling, you know there's more to go. There's more for you to accept. There's so many things that we have gone through with Roger to bring you awareness, and today it's still the same thing. He took a shower this morning, and we said, okay, now please lift your arm and show them your shoulder. You can move your shoulder now. He said, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You each have done that. You've done something that you're not quite sure you've accomplished it. You don't understand it, and so you're not taking credit for it. We want you to start taking credit for it. Roger's known that as he moves through acceptance of who he is and what he's been given, which has been challenging. We're going to say it's been really difficult. There's no secret about that. We've put it all through. He knows that part of his mission here is to talk about his disbelief. That's the only way he can get any of you to believe in yourselves. So he can be honest about the process that you move through. And you're going to shift back and forth. That's what happens. But you're meant to do that. Your ups and downs, we gave you that also in your life operating instructions. We said you have cycles in your life. And so we related it to this particular experience, but you have much more than that you don't need to remember right now, but you have cycles. And so some days you're going to be on top of the world. Other days you're not, because you're processing through all of this crap that you've been carrying around. And it's not just yours. This is why we keep bringing back the connections, your ancestral connections, because that's what's happening now. Your world is shifting, and it's done this many, many times, but this shift is much larger. We told you, we've mentioned we told Roger to go back several hundred years, but we told him specifically 500 years. Did not understand that until the other day when we took him back to see that it was there. We took him back to the message that we had given. It's written right there, 500 years. And then he's forgotten about Martin Luther. We said, we want you to understand that, because more of you here now are using the energies that Martin Luther brought in. And that was about reformation, about changing things, making things new. Understanding that you are important. Don't you know he was about saying, no, wait a minute, it's not just given to one person. It's not, it's all of you. And then the thing that becomes more challenging for us in speaking to you and speaking to Roger is that you will see your historical figures, especially your religious ones, because you've made up things you do this all the time. You make up things that sometimes keep you separate rather than bringing you together. And the entire point of your life is to come together within yourself and within one another, because there's strength when you come together, but you have division now. So we have to heal the division within you before you can expect to offer your whole, complete, loving, wonderful self to the world to cause this shift in the world that you wanted. See, that's what's going on right now. But this has gone on before. We've taken Roger back to many other ancient things, as we've said, where you can see that, wait a minute, there were civilizations that left? Yes. Because there were those who were not as evolved as they could have been to own themselves in that way. But see, you're here at a different time. You're here at a time where you can understand more and complete those tasks, those goals, those discoveries, those inventions that all of those could not do before. There was a purpose when your schools were established and they started giving you history, because it was built in a way that you kind of understood it then. You could see even your grades when you set up your schools, you had different grades and all of that, because you knew that there were times where you could accept information and you would understand that, but you needed that acceptance first of this primordial information that you could use to build upon. And then you could see, as you went through school, they said, okay, now we can advance you to this grade, now to this grade, and to that grade. You're doing that in your life. Your evolutionary journey has that set up for you, because you're ascending into becoming your pure self, which is unlimited, which has everything. You're in essence, you're that part of God that is just planted here in the earth. And whatever term, we know that many of you use different terms, and so we typically stay away from those. We just want you to think of the universe, God, the Gaia, whatever it is that you think of massiveness. Think of that, whatever it is. There is, we're bringing this up because, again, back to Martin Luther, there was a time where you were rigid. You were rigid in your societal norms of where you thought things needed to be. And he said, wait a minute, there's something that is different. It needs to be different. And so he set forth a revolution. We're saying that because it changed everything moving forward. You are doing the same thing. We want you to understand it, because you are. You're here in the world now to offer this shift that's going to allow your world to move into a different place. And it's going to take a little bit of time. And we told Roger that right now, what you need to do, we're advising, you don't need to do anything, but we're just advising you what would be best for the outcome that you want, is to now start looking at, who do I want to be? Because I've been denying it for a while, you see. Yeah, you have. We're saying that. It's natural, though. We don't want you can't judge yourself for this. You cannot, because everything you have done up until this point was perfect. You couldn't understand any of this unless you had those experiences. There's some of you who have had, and the reason that we keep talking about your age as well, about chronological age, human age, because it's difficult for you to understand that time and everything is existing now, because you have to operate in linear time. You operate in linear time as humans because it gives you signposts. You can measure things, and which is great. But you will move out of that too, which we moved Roger out of that quite a bit, in that he's seeing different things. But that's what he was meant to do, so that he could help more. He didn't do that before. Again, let's go back to his dream, because you've each had something like this, but we're using him. We kept talking about the 2005 dream. So yesterday we revealed to him that all those people, because he heard it again, he missed it before, you each missed things in your lives, but he heard it again, that in his Akashic records, that group of people that he was with were all the ones that we put into our program. He asked that question, didn't remember it, because again, discovery is so much more fun, so much more exciting. But that's what you're each discovering now. You've never done anything wrong. It's not possible. You did something and you learned, and you gained knowledge, you gained wisdom. And you were meant to do that so that you could actualize at this point, because you knew that the world would need you. We've used that many times because we mean it. We need you. What will come up in the next several weeks, you're going to see more division, you're going to see more revelations, because and they have to come out. The revelations will come out, and what you will see is that you've been lied to. You've been lying to yourself, and other people have done the same thing, and it's gone on throughout your world. And so this is why we said there will be a shift in the wealth and income distribution in your world. That's what's going to happen. And you know that's why you're here, is to experience that. But you haven't allowed the wealth to come into you because you've been judging yourself because you thought you did something wrong. Or you thought you didn't have what you believed was within you, and you have it. And we keep going through this because we know that it just takes time. We put in, again, we wanted you to understand the process of your evolvement, how you use your mind to develop who you are. And it's a process. You don't do it overnight. You do it over and over again. You didn't understand this centuries ago. And that's why you had people who came in and developed science. We told you that Roger knew and discovered that he came in after he figured this out and allowed himself to see it, to put together science and spirituality and human development. Because we told them what all of the others who came before, all the geniuses, they got to a certain part of spirituality. They started to understand, oh, wait a minute, there's more. This is why we keep throwing in Einstein. So you each can understand that more. But Roger couldn't understand it. Well, wait a minute, did I have something to add here? Yes. You each do. We don't care who you look at that came before. You have the ability to do far more than they ever could. And that's hard for you to accept. But we're going to keep yelling about it because we need you. We need you to understand your importance, because as you come to that, you're going to not only change your life, but you're going to see it show up in the world. We say show up because it takes time. But we will say this, you've done some really good things. You've done some really great things. And so, but you'll start to see things really start to shift by February. But then March, if you keep going in the trajectory that you're using right now, March, you're going to really start seeing things blossom. And then you'll have a spring that you really want to have as well. It's going to take you a while to change the weather that you screwed up, though. So be patient with that one. Yeah, you're going to have a little bit of that because the turbulence is still there. It's still coming through because you didn't pay attention before. But you still have time. If you do the work that we're saying you were meant to do because you wanted to. We know that it looks really crazy. We know that it looks like everything is falling apart. We're saying in our wonderful, smiling, uplifting way, no, it's coming together. And you'll see that. It'll take some work because you have a habit also of beating yourselves up and thinking everything is going wrong. It is not. And you have the opportunity to change it all now, in this moment. We gave you Eckhart Tolle a while ago and the power of now because we wanted you to understand something else. When you are in your moment of now, as Eckhart so lovingly explained to all of you, when you're in your power of now, you have no pain. You have no fear. You have nothing. And that's your most powerful place to be because that's where you create everything. Your point of power is in the present. Your point of power is in the present. Now, Roger came to that back in the 70s, but it didn't resonate and make all the sense to him until he came to later when he needed to use it. And that was when he needed to heal something within himself. And then there was Eckhart who came along and offered another interpretation of that Roger could accept and understand and now use it to effectuate healing within himself and then pass it on to others. You're doing the same thing. But you can only do it when you understand you never did anything wrong. Your past was perfect. And in your moment of now, you can always change anything. We'll give you, we'll get you to try it a little bit. Just give yourself a little experiment. When you're doing your meditation, this is going to be fun for you because you'll see how challenging it has been. And Roger accomplished this, didn't stay on it, but he did accomplish it because that was the only way he was able to break the chain. You see, there's a chain of belief that you have, and so you have to break it at some point. So the way he was able to break it was finally to get to those moments, brief moments, and that's all he needed, where he was in the moment of now. Transcendental meditation, those folks have done it many times. They have to. Now, if you want to be a monk and go and be quiet for 6 months, you could probably figure it out as well. You don't have to try that hard, though. But just take your meditation and sit there and attempt to think of nothing. Attempt to be in that moment where you have no thought of what's coming next or what went before. When you can do that, you're in your moment of now. And you will find that it's challenging. Because you'll be sitting in that moment and now trying to get to that place, and you're going to say, wait a minute, when is it over? You see? Or you'll try to get there and you'll think, wait a minute, I should have done that before. And this is how you've been living your lives. This is why mindfulness becomes so important. We've put all of this into the program. See, we wanted you to understand you will develop this over time. We can only do this when we say that we have used Roger, we're saying that purposely. We want you to understand because in human years, you've got to put this together. He's used all of this information that we put in that program. That's what he used his entire life to bring him to this place where he could understand this. But it took so long for him in human years and he's completely fine with that because he knows, he can feel, and we've told him what he's accomplished in his evolutionary life. See, he's moved through all that other stuff, and now he can be more present to be here for everyone else, which is what he wants now. But that was also challenging. And this is the other part we're going to speak on because he's had it forever, and many of you have had this about your money. We gave you so many messages years ago about your money energy for each of you to find it, because you will use it in different ways. But the way that you will use it will tell you who you are and why you came here, why you're in the world. Now, money in and of itself has no value, absolutely zero value. It doesn't. You think about this. I mean, you could take your particular form of money that you in your country and take it to some other country and try to buy something. They're going to say, what is this? It's not worth anything. It is something that humans made up. You see, and you use it for exchange and for goods and all of that, which is brilliant. But then the other part of it, you used it to classify who you were. You use it as a means of measurement. And the reason we're talking about this shift in your world in terms of wealth and income redistribution, you are the ones who are going to start now. When you're into your power, into who you are and why you came here, you'll have more money. You'll have that natural flow of abundance coming to you because some of you have been cutting that off. Roger's cut it off his entire life, and it causes him difficulties. He can't ask for money. He hasn't been charging enough for some of his stuff, but he's handling that. He's figuring that one out, as you each will. See, because the greater part of him knows that he has to do something for everyone else. And in previous messages, we revealed some of that, and it was also brought out in the Akashic records where he carried this guilt from this very ancient lifetime where he did certain things, except he saw it, heard it a little bit differently last night, but then he felt that he was covering people up. Now this life, he knew that he had to uplift, he had to open up, and that was challenging. Because he had to get rid of he had to move through his stuff first before he could do that. You each are doing something like that in your evolutionary journey that is going to be a benefit to all those who come later. You have to understand this. Unless you think that your physical body is going to be on the earth forever, in essence, it is, but not in the form that you think. Your energy is always ever present. And you're creating it now, which is so beautiful. And we know some of you are hearing that and thinking, no, I'm looking at the world, I'm looking what's happening out there and think this isn't possible. Well, we can see beyond what you're seeing. And we want to encourage more of you to start doing that, because many of you do have that ability as well, and you feel that. And so last night, the other thing we did, we want to explain this, because many of you are doing things that are different. You're doing things that are new, maybe new to you or new within your family. And that's been challenging, and they've been judging you. Why are you doing this? You should be doing what the family said. Why are you going off in this direction? And then you might not have any, and which is a good thing for many of you, but you may not have any examples to see to give you encouragement. Roger didn't have a lot of those. When we began coming through, there were not a lot of people who were doing what he is doing. Not that he knew of it, was just not in, there were many people all over the world doing it, but he wasn't aware of it. And so he felt isolated, and this was weird, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't allow this to come through, even though it was a burning desire, as you would think of it, that's been within him, and he knew that. But he had to break through all of that. So last night, again, we showed him something that he had not seen, where there were organizations of all these channelers. Where did they come from? Where were they when he needed them for more encouragement, you see? To say, oh, yes, we're all doing something a little different. We're all here bringing in something new into the world. Each of you are doing that. But because you may not see, and this is the part, again, that's challenging for each of you. You don't see the exact path that you're doing, and then you start to judge it. Stop doing that, please. We want you to create your path. We want you to create your way. Yes, you're meant to use all the information that came, but put yourself in it. Put yourself on it. We were in a, we had Roger see a group the other day, and this has happened several times. And there's many different people trying to do jobs. Many of you have moved into trying to do careers now because of, you think it's because of the pandemic, but it was actually before that. You've been wanting to do this for a while. You just allowed the pandemic and the existence of all these conditions to push you a little bit closer. But now you have to really own that, because you're still doubting that this is the thing that you're supposed to do, or that you have, or anyway, you're meant to do that. And it's coming up now for you to see that, but it's hard for you to accept that, because you want a specific example in front of you that would give you encouragement. And we've talked of this often. Many of you may not know this, but if you go back to some of our earlier messages, we would make references to where Roger heard so-and-so say. He would listen to something before he would communicate with us. He would communicate with us always. But then before he would write, because he's had stages of how he would allow us to come through, but before he would write, he would listen to someone else. And if they could say it, maybe, oh yes, maybe I'm okay now. Maybe what I heard was correct. He doesn't do that anymore. He doesn't even write it anymore. So it's changed. We're saying that because you each will, you move through your life, and we take, going back to the only human thing that you can kind of use to understand what we're talking about, but we're talking about your consciousness, not your abilities or anything, but your consciousness, your awareness to accept something. But if you think of your school, the way your schools were orchestrated or set up, you can see the progression. It's that kind of progression that happens in your consciousness, in your awareness as well. And as you accept that and move into it gently, accepting it, we want to clarify that. Many of you are feeling, we can speak to all of you on this one. Many of you are feeling a little out of your body. Like things are just shifting around, and you're just, and you have these days you can't put things together. That's supposed to be. This is shaking up your experience. It's happening all over the world. Everywhere. Many of you may not have seen what's going on in other parts of your world, but it's not just you. We brought this up many times. So many of you have not put together. Months ago, when we spoke of the pandemic, we told you about 1918, the one that happened before, and there were strange occurrences that would happen where there were people who lived in parts of the world that had no connection to anyone else, and somehow they came up, they had contracted that flu that was happening then. How did that happen? You're not going to figure that out right now, but we want you to just imagine that there's something far more powerful than anything physical. We gave you all of that in 2012. If that entire year, that entire work, we said it's not about your physical body, it's about who you're developing internally, who you're becoming, who you're allowing your soul to expand to. That's really what it is. And you're each are doing it in your own way. So you are on your path. We're taking it back to now just you. I want you to understand this. You can look at your life, where you grew up, the family you were in, all of the experiences you've had, the jobs you've gone through, the careers, the failures, the mistakes, the accidents, the disasters, and all of those things have made you rich. They've made you so wealthy right now. And you're going to start to uncover that, and you're going to start to figure it out. And once you do, you will do something with it, and that will allow the physical wealth that you've all wanted to experience to manifest in your life. But see, you've been holding it back because of this one thing that we have on the wall, that we have on the screen, that we had on the screen for you. We wanted you to see that. And we gave it to you in 2012. We keep saying it because we got to get Roger to believe it too, because he had trouble at first. He believes it now. But we're doing it because we want each of you to believe what you have been given. You have gifts. And the gift, this is the challenging one for each of you. The gift is you. Every aspect of you. We needed you. You see, we keep saying it. We needed you. We used differentiation because that was a concept that that was brought into your human awareness and consciousness with Carl Jung, and many others then extrapolated upon that, as you're meant to do now. However, when you start understanding, and as you progress, you know that, oh, wait a minute, there's more to us as humans. There's more that we can do. And so we can't be stuck into the old place. When Jung moved from Freud, even though Freud brought in so much awareness, but it wasn't complete. And so there was more. And they said, there's got to be meaning to you being here. This is why our work gets you to understand that you have meaning. You have meaning and purpose. You just haven't understood it because of how you've interpreted some of your life events and experiences. That's all. And the more of you come to understand this is why Roger's on this quest now to really work with more and more people. And we gave him other ideas, which he's still fleshing out, where he could spread it more, because he's so excited about it. But he has to make sure that he's moving through his limitations to be able to offer everything to each of you. We're saying that because you're doing that. You are doing that. Your life is so important, which is why you decided to have it. And every experience was so important, which is why you had them. You will see as you go through our information, and this we've done this many times with Roger. We said, okay, go back and try to find something that you disagree with now, and he can't do it. He didn't understand it, and that's what's happened as a result of by him just putting together this program that we forced him to do. By the way, we pushed him to such a degree, but just by him putting together that program, it moved him to a whole new level, which was our intention. It's our intention with all of you, is to get you to just understand you're magnificent, accept it, and put it into the world, because we're saying again, the world needs you. And you felt that, you know it. There's a goodness within you, if we want to say that you've been cutting off because you've been judging yourself so much, because you didn't understand this. We'll give you something else. We're just going to give you this little piece because we want you to try to put this together. But imagine that before you were born, We have to use the imagine thing because even though we can say we can talk about the reality of it, but we just need you to imagine it for right now. So you sat there on your perch and you decided, I want to become this thing. That's what I want to do. I want to become this person. So if I come into the world now, if I decide to come into the world, just stay with us. We know this is going to be fun. So if you just come, I'm going to look, those people, they should be my parents. I'm going to go there because they're going to really help me. Oh, and I can see they're going to have these other kids that are going to really, they're going to help too. But oh, maybe I'll go to this family because they're not going to have any other kids and I want to be that only child. Okay, maybe I want to have a twin. Let me try that one. That should be fun. That'll be a whole new experience this time. And I'm going to pick this time to come into it because I know that then I can see the experiences, the things that are going to happen in the world, and that's going to cause me to come to understand who I am a little bit more. I can see all of these things and how I'm going to make some different choices and move in that, but then I'm going to end up here where I can say, oh, now I understand and now I can do what I came to the world to do. That's what you did. And that's why you're here now. There's a little part of some of you that got that. There's a little part of some of you that understood it and will accept it. And the more you do, we're going to be so thrilled because we know what you'll come to. You'll remember. We've told you, we used to say that to Roger all the time. He stopped allowing it to come through though, because he didn't remember. Now he does. But we used to say, you will remember. And he said, no, it's not possible. You each were born with worth, purpose, and the reason to be here on the earth now. At this time, this particular time in your world is going to make a huge difference in the trajectory and where your world starts to move. And again, when you go back to physics, we had him also, if you remember this, some of you have listened to Dolores Cannon, and Dolores Cannon, we'll talk about quantum healing, and that's a technique that she developed with hypnosis, quantum healing. And when you think about quantum and anything in your physics, mechanics, or any of that, you start to understand things in an entirely new way. See, because then you get broken down, you break it down, and you come up, oh, it was energy. It was that energy that Wilhelm was talking about. That's what it was. And you each have it. No one has more than you. You just may not have been willing to use it. And you haven't been using it consistently. Now you might start to do more of that. We've given you messages for decades on focused attention. Focused attention, meaning that when you decide that you're going to focus your attention in a particular way, you're going to manifest things because you have power. But sometimes you're not intentional about where you're focusing that intention. And so then you end up with results in your life and you think, how'd that happen? You weren't paying attention. That's all. But all of this is to say, none of it matters. That's why we brought you here today. None of it matters. All that matters is what you choose to do in this moment of now. That is all. What you choose to do in this moment of now. This coming week, you will have more experiences occurring in your world that might cause you a bit of panic, but you don't worry. This is going to be so purposeful because this shift that is occurring that many of you have been afraid of and resisting, because humans resist change because you don't know where you're going, it's uncertain. We want to speak on that just for a moment. We brought up something last time about conspiracy. We said we're conspiracy. Yes, we want you to understand that. Everything is conspiring for you. Now, the judgment that you've had, we know that the world is going through places where people have these conspiracy things and you've made them wrong and bad and all of that. However, when you understand why you do it, you'll change things. You only create something that you would call a conspiracy or whatever out there is because you don't have anything to hold on to. You're used to physical things and you need things to make sense right here. You need to understand them or you don't feel secure. Never understanding that you're not a physical body anyway, and this physical world doesn't really mean anything. You're a soul, you're a spirit. That's who you are. However, when you're in human form, you want things to feel solid. You'll have many people out there, you know them, probably all in your family, who will say this stuff that we're talking about is just craziness. That doesn't have any basis in reality, but you will see that it will. You all will see, because it's going, as your world changes, more of this will come about. Why do you think we had Roger see all the channels out there? There are many of you who understand this and who are busy working on causing things to shift in a new way so that you will have that new world. This is not, none of this is accidental. And you will understand it. So yeah, again, we took, Roger's gone through this his entire life. When John F. Kennedy, which was really important in his life, was assassinated in 1963. He was destroyed by that. And then right afterwards, there were all these folks who were trying to make up something, because it was a disaster that happened, for the world at that time, because he was such a prominent a figure and important, influential, and all of that. So it was challenging. And Roger, he's been through all of these, and he saw what happened right afterwards, because everyone wanted to make up an idea of what happened. And then you just recently, your world discovered, oh, no, we had it right the first time. But when you're moving through something that you do not understand, you sometimes make up things to give you a sense of security. And so if you're judging others who have done that, please understand that's why they have done it. So, and you will help change things when you can understand rather than judging, because you didn't come to do that. You came to open up. You came to love yourself so that you could do that for others. And that's what's going to change your world. But we can only do that if we start with you. That's why we've made this our priority, because we know how important you are. We're going to continue next week, but we want to open for questions. But I want to tell you what we will talk about. We will speak about next week, because we know where this is progressing now, but you're still going to be in this place of not being quite sure. So we're going to do everything in our power to bring you into more certainty. That's what we're going to do for your next week. And you will have that certainty. And we're telling you now, you're going to have so much more certainty in where you're going, so you won't have to make up stuff. It'll be great for you. But now we would love to open it for questions and any further clarification, any insights, anything that might have come through for any of you.
All right, I have sent the invitations out to be promoted to a panelist. So if you'd like to ask a question, just raise your hand. And if you were too shy, go ahead and type your question in the chat and I'll ask it on your behalf.
We're so pleased you said that, shy. The shyness has been purposeful for many of you. We want you to understand that, because you felt your holding back was weakness. It was not. You were just getting ready for now. You're just, because you're going to start understanding how important you are, and that shyness, you just didn't want to create any kind of mess in the world. That we're grateful for that. And so now you're going to understand, when you let go of a little bit of that, this is what we said. We want more of you to be courageous about accepting yourselves in the midst of whatever's going on. You are what's important, because this is all about you.
Okay, there does not seem to be any questions or comments right now.
Perfect. That's wonderful. We would like to leave you with this. It's so doesn't matter. We want you to absorb all of this until next week. This is quite perfect. As we said, your past is perfect. And so we want you to go through this deep dive within yourselves in these next several days, and you're going to monitor yourself because you're going to see all sorts of things happening. And we want you to recognize what choice you're making in the moment. Are you going to choose to love, or are you going to choose to hate? That's all we want you to think about, because there's much that's going to come up, and you're going to have plenty of opportunities. But the thing is going to be this. We'll give you the key. You will know which choice you're making by the way you feel. You will know which choice you're making by the way you feel. Now, we know how you want to feel, but the choice is going to be yours. And we will explain much more of that as we move into next week. And then next week, we will give you the culmination of that. But we are so pleased and so happy that you have been here and that you are listening to this if you're coming to it later, because it will have the same impact that we intended. Thank you.
Do you have one last voice? Clarity, go ahead.
I was just going to say, speaking of comfort in our bodies, that Cryon went through a whole channel reminding how it manifests in our body and in our lives. And after that, I realized that there is a part of being a mystic that is ecstasy. And that our energy in our body, the spine is actually designed for channeling energy back and forth between our root and our crown. And that my breathing has come to such a powerful place now that I just wanted to say, and we need to remind ourselves always, everything is in our hearts. Sophia is in every breath, and Sophia is the feminine divine wisdom.
Thank you. This is you brought up another important point that we do want to leave you all with, and that's why we brought up Roger's shoulder as well. He's known this forever. He's had every kind of mental, physical thing that has gone on, and he knows that as he moves through that and allows himself to accept him exactly as he is, then those things start to leave. And that's what we want you each to understand. And so, yes, thank you. You that's why we also brought up many of you might be experiencing shifts in your bodies that you can't understand. That's expansion. And if you think of it that way, you might notice your resistance. Let's just put it that way. You notice your resistance in certain, that will manifest sometimes in physical parts of your body. Not all of you will do this, but there are some of you who will be aware of those movements. And so we just want you to understand that. So thank you so much for that.
Yes, it was, how do we say it? It was something that I could not ignore anymore. So yes, I've arrived, and thank you for guiding me.
Oh, great. Thank you. Wonderful.
Lester, did you want to say something?
I'm still procrastinating.
That's okay.
It seems that seems to me, I feel that I'm waiting for something disastrous to happen that will force my hand, and I'll say, okay,
yes,
watch this.
Yes.
And right now, I think my life is too easy. I have no large desires.
Yes.
I have dreams and things I'd like to do, but and this, like, I've been doing this forever. It's almost like I need to be put in a financial corner where, okay, now you need to come up with the money, but I don't require it at this time. Not that I have a bunch of it, but I always have enough.
But we thank you so much for this. We thank you so much. First of all, we want you to love your procrastination. We want you to love it, because what will happen is this: Nothing's gonna, you might have a little, that's why we gave you the money energy. We gave you that to all of you because you each will use it in different ways. You may not have the financial crunch that comes along, but you will have the awareness that comes into being, which has already started happening for you, that say, no, I want to do this. And then you will be just pushed to do that. But don't judge your procrastination. We want you to live in it. Live in it. Because just sit in it, because it will change. The problem is, we're going to do a course on this, on this one, because think about this. Many of you have done this. You're looking at, I'm procrastinating, and we told you about focused attention. You're focusing on procrastination. So you're going to continue to procrastinate. And so we want you to just sit in it, because then what will happen is you will just get tired of it, and then you'll start to do something. But as long as you're judging yourself for the procrastination, you won't do it. And this is why we said your past was perfect, because you've been procrastinating for a while and you thought it was bad. No, it wasn't. It was because you wanted to actualize now, because the world needed you more now. We're saying that to all of you, but to you especially.
I look forward to speaking to you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're so sorry, Uncle Albert, but we haven't done a bloody thing all day.
And actually, that would be the best posture that many of you could have at this time, is to relax into who you are and enjoy this process. Even though what you're saying looks a little, we're telling you, we're moving to a place that you will enjoy, and it'll be fine. You will all be fine. Wow. We thank you so much for today. And again, we will have so much more for you next week, and lots of great things in the works. But for today, we are complete.
Namaste.
Hi. Okay.
Dr. B, good morning.
So incredibly dry. That was wonderful. That was fun. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Look forward to next week.
Yes, yes.
I feel big changes coming. I feel a wave of something happening, something changing, a shift.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
No,
it is. And we just needed to all do it in this way, and it's absolutely perfect. So, okay. Thank you all so much. This was wonderful. All right. I'll see you soon.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks.